with the Greaseman looking out at the bleakness. I almost feel like I'm back in Nam with all this rain we've been having. I remember there it rained for months at a time. And every now and then I start to feel my malaria kicking back in. My skies start to hurt. Everybody always asks me, Grease, you ever think you'll go back? You ever think you'll go back to Nam and finish the job? What people don't know is I have been back. I got a letter from the Red Cross asking me if I knew a one Zien Ben Chang. I said, yeah, I know her. And they wrote me back, said, well, if that's the case, you have a daughter. A daughter? Living with the commies! I called up Robinson, Fibish, Kalicheki, Di Lorenzo, the whole Mershpocha. I said, boys, it's time for all of us to go back. Back to the place where the name on my uniform said Greaseman Ellie, but everybody knew me as Sergeant Fury! Quang Tri, 1967. It was a steamy night in Saigon that I first met Zien Chang Chong Ching Chao. We completed a transaction, and she was mine. I had no idea that I would contribute to the sea of little faces left behind by GIs. But I knew that having confirmation that she was actually there, my daughter, that I couldn't live letting her grow up under that stinking communist regime. So I got my buddies to go back with me. To go back! We were airdropped into Cambodia. We put on our black pajamas. And while we were all bigger and massiver, more massive rather, than the average Vietnamese person, arriving under cover of darkness, walking hunched over like beggars and bums, we managed to pass unnoticed on the streets of Saigon to Ho Chi Minh Hospital. I motioned for the men to take out their bayonets in case we encountered any resistance. There was one guard at the front. He was snoring. You ever heard a North Vietnamese snore? It sounds like this. But he didn't snore for long, because he was eating my bayonet. I bayoneted him just above the kidneys. Oh! All the guards at the elevators were snoring, nobody expecting an attack at a hospital. One by one, we crept down those sterile corridors, sinking in bayonets. I said, we gotta find where the kids are in this hospital. We gotta find them! Find them! Sure enough, we heard them coming from upstairs. Obviously, it was the children's sector. We paused at the doorway. They were older kids. We knew we were getting warm. Finally, we found it. The little ward where the babies were. There was a whole room full of them. Fibish said, sir, how are we going to find out which one of yours? All the names are written in Vietnamese here. And I looked and I thought, holy Jesus. I said, well, we know it's a girl. So right away, drop the diapers. We'll rule out anything that's got hydraulics. You got it? So we went through one by one until finally, there in the corner, one of them that just looked like me. She had tuna smeared across her lips. She was looking bulky even at that age. She had a slightly indigenous look about her. I said, Robinson, you sure this ain't yours here? He said, no way. Jose. I said, no, that's gotta be. Look at that smile. Yeah, looks a little like John Ritter. It's gotta be me. Gotta be me. So I picked her up. I picked her up and held her. When suddenly we heard the sounds of heavy boots in the hallway. I said, watch it, hit the deck! They opened up on us right there in the ward. I said, return fire, watch out for the kids, they're crying out loud! I grabbed an orderly going by. I said, where's the back door?
door. He said, we don't have back door.
I said, where do you want one, Mother? Yeah! All right, hold it back, I'm almost through. All right, let's go, move on. Yeah! And so we hauled ass through the streets, with me laying down a blanket of lead. I had my little baby in my little knapsack, as we ran for the airport. We lost him in heavy street fighting. Finally, we got to the airport. We commandeered a liner, and we blasted off as the tracers felt for us in the night. I looked down. I could still see the occasional pop and poop. The small arms fire reached for us like hungry fingers. But we got away with only minor wounds. That was a long time ago. I visit her now and then. I found a foster home for her. Nice Italian family, the Pirellis. They named her Nellie Pirelli Greasemanelli. I was talking to her the other day when I had one of my visits.
She said, tell me about mother. You tell me about my mother.
I said, Nellie, your mother was a very wonderful woman.
She said, what you talk about? What your mama talk about all the time when you together? What you talk about?
I said, well, frankly, we were together a very brief time, Nellie, and we never talked about anything, but I think with our eyes we said a lot. Matter of fact, your mother only knew 2 words of English.
She said, Mama only knew 2 words English? Which 2?
I looked at her, I said, $25.